Hello, everybody. I can see 58 attendees at the moment. Can everybody hear me? Send some chat if you can. Oh, Priscilla can. That's a good start. Okay. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you everybody for turning up. My name's Angus Savory, and I'm a English language teacher and the owner of an English language learning platform called Let's Learn English. I've been in the classroom at the chalk face for 30 long years, and although now I spend more time in the office than in front of students, which is something I miss a little bit. Apologies for anyone who is expecting this to take place in Portuguese. Unfortunately, my knowledge of Brazilian Portuguese is limited to caipirinhas, and that's about it, really. So this is going to be in English. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing my screen with everybody, and basically the point behind the entire talk is to talk about the benefits and drawbacks of using technology in the EFL classroom, and then talking about practical ways to use technology in the classroom. I own a language learning platform, but this talk isn't necessarily going to be a sales pitch promoting Let's Learn English. I'll be talking about how to use general non-English language teaching materials from the web. I'll also talk about using free materials from the web, because there's a good deal of free materials that you can use. And then finally, I'll end my talk talking about a learning platform, i.e. the one I know best, which is mine. Okay, so I'm getting questions coming through, or most of these questions are comments, which are excellent. I'm quite happy to take questions, and basically what I'll be doing is I'll be looking at the questions and comments that come through, and as they come through, I'll answer them. So don't feel you need to wait until the end of the presentation to ask questions. You can just go ahead and ask questions anytime you like, and I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, so the first thing we're going to try and do here is I'm going to try and start this slideshow, but I'm just going to wonder whether it's going to be possible. Yes, it is going to be possible. Great. Okay. Okay, so using technology in the EFL classroom. Okay, so the basic reason that we like to use technology is one of motivation. This is not particularly big news. Whether you're teaching adults or whether you're teaching young learners in state schools or private language institutions, generally when students get the chance to use their own devices, to use their phones, to use their laptops, whatever, it does provide motivation for the students. Okay. Benefits of using technology. Well, as I mentioned, motivation. Also flexibility. So you can use technology can be used either just one person. Sorry, I've just got a message or a question. Hello, are you showing your PowerPoint presentation with us later? Yes, I'll pass this on to SBS, and it'll be possible for them to pass that on to you, or my slides, etc. I think it's also being recorded as well, so you can hear my wonderful voice. Yeah, so yeah, Students can use their phones individually, or it's possible to get students to work in groups using technology for a range of websites or ideas, or you can do it as a whole class activity with the projector or on the TV or something connected to the internet. So it's a very, very flexible system. Of course, it's very, very modern, which doesn't just mean it's a computer, therefore it's modern. What it means, of course, is that new materials are constantly being added to technology. So there's always every single week there's new material coming online. You compare that with a course book, you know, it immediately becomes apparent that course books are, well, I wouldn't say stuck in the past. Everything within a course book, of course, is an excellent resource, but course books don't change, they don't evolve. Okay, and the very fact that all modern course books now contain a learning platform is evidence that course books publishers see the deficiencies of just using a course book. Somebody's posted, how can I post a question to Angus Savory? This is Raine Frason. Apologies for my terrible pronunciation. Just write a question in the same way as you've written it now, or of course I can take questions after the session's finished, etc. Okay, other benefits. Technology is continually improving. You've got multimedia, of course, so you've got audio, you've got video, you've got games. Every facility there that you can have, be it audio or visual, is available for you and for the class. Investments, yeah. If you think about Google, you think about Facebook, you think about these companies, they have enormous amounts of money to invest, far more money to invest than Oxford University Press or Macmillan or any of the publishers. So consequently, with investment comes new functionality, new ideas, and consequently it will keep evolving and become better and better. The internet is always up to date. A book takes at least 18 months to produce and is often instantly out of date. When if you have a look at any course books written by any major publishers, they will always be very, very careful not to include anything which is current. The reason being, of course, because when things are current when you're writing the course book, it's not current when the course book is produced. Let's say, for example, I'm writing at the moment, everyone in Britain is talking about Brexit, which of course is a huge disaster. But anyway, if I decided to write a unit in a course book on Brexit, by the time the course book came out, Brexit would be old news. So consequently, you need something which is constantly up to date, and that's the internet and technology, rather than course books which have to, by their very definition, focus on things which are not particularly current. And yeah, they're constantly improving. The internet and technology is constantly improving. A book is a book, and it's very good at what it does, but it can't really improve except for the next edition of the book. However, it's not all fun and games for technology. There are problems and there are pitfalls. So, for example, primarily inertia. People are used to having a book. You're all teachers, most of you are teachers who are attending this webinar, so you'll be aware that you get, especially the older types of students, they will see that they like the comfort of having a course book. And, you know, it's not to be underestimated, the fact that if a student feels relaxed, they're going to learn more. If they don't have a course book given to them, then they might not be so relaxed. Therefore, they're not going to learn as much or as effectively. Technological issues. Anyone who has ever used technology in the classroom has come across technological problems, and that affects me as I was a teacher just as much as any of you. Internet speeds vary according to the region, the time of day, the number of concurrent users. You can always get dropouts. And of course, the problem is, you know, if you're writing on a whiteboard and you've got your marker pens and one of them doesn't work, you just grab another marker pen. if the internet falls, then you really have to think on your feet. So there's no getting away from it. Expense. Technology can be expensive. Although I've noticed that language learning course books are becoming far more expensive than they used to be. Insecurity. Now that refers to students not being confident about using technology. It also is true of teachers. Many teachers in schools don't want to use technology. I'm old enough. When I started teaching, I used to use video. Yes, I am that old. Video was just coming in, and lots of older teachers said, "Oh, I don't want to use video in the classroom. It's too revolutionary." And but of course now everybody uses video, so people do get used to it. But there's an initial worry about using anything which is new in the classroom. Some people believe that technology is an excuse for lazy teachers. I'm not particular here. I'm talking about sometimes maybe parents of young learners might not be happy with teachers using a lot of technology in the classroom. Most will be happy, but some might not be so happy. They might think, well, you know, I didn't send my child to private school in order to watch videos all day. So I think technology needs to be explained to parents of young learners as it's being used, so that they understand what the students are using. And of course, overload. Yeah, I mean, when I started teaching, you'd get a course book and you get a workbook and you get a teacher's book, and that was it. But now every single new publication has to have a student's book, a workbook, offline resources, a CD with all the audio, an online learning platform, DVDs, videos, etc. That's because publishers want the entire student experience to take place within their own cutting edge or life world. So introducing technology on top of that can result in student overload. So the challenge is to do two things: to use technology to enhance the learning experience, to do things which books can't do, basically, and to move away from the course book. I mean, course books are like teddy bears. Yeah, you're always comfortable when you've got a course book, and because publishers know that, they deliberately write their course books so that they contain everything that you might want, so that you don't ever need to leave the protective bosom of headway. But I think we need to try to make use of what technology can give us. Is everyone still awake? I'm not getting any more questions. Maybe everybody's gone to sleep, as used to happen in my classroom. Either that or nobody can hear me, which means I'm just talking to myself, which I often do. Oh no, good. Okay, excellent. Okay, so enough of the theory. So we're going to have a look at some practical ideas now. So as I said, we're going to have a look at some non-ELT resources, which can be adapted for use in the classroom, free of charge. We can look at free ESL specific resources, and the benefits and problems with that, and also learning platforms. You explain things so well, there are no questions, says Cesar. Thank you very much, Cesar. Right, now let's have a look. Right, has anybody ever heard of a website called YouTube? It's quite new and it's not used by many people, but apparently it's becoming more popular, and you can find lots of videos on it. I'm joking, of course. Every single person and most of your pets will know about YouTube. Okay, so how can we use YouTube in the classroom? Well, firstly, let's have a look at the fact that why use YouTube? Everybody knows what it is. As soon as you see the logo for YouTube, everyone's going to be quite happy, or at least intrigued. Of course, YouTube, being a video site, is used for listening skills. So it's very good for you to be able to It's the world's largest resource, effectively, for listening skills. You hear a range of accents. In Brazil, I imagine, I'm not sure, but I imagine there's a lot of US English on TV, etc. So you will hear a lot of one type of accent, American English. And so consequently, but if you're, I'm sure you'll all be aware that most English takes place between non-native speakers. So most of the English takes place between people in an Indian office and their German counterparts, or a Japanese salesperson and an Argentinian, I don't know, a teacher or something like that. So you need a range of accents, and that's what you get on YouTube. World English, yeah. Again, you see English from a range of different accents, etc. And of course, new content. Every single second, there are 10,000 new YouTube videos coming along. It's a good thing, and of course, it's a bad thing because you can get lost in all the new material. Quick look at some questions. Sorry, how to organize activities regarding listening, pronouncing. That's pronunciation. That's coming next. Hello, Angus. My name is Clotilde. A lovely name, and I teach very young kids, 3 years old. How can we use technology with them? It's difficult, but it is possible. I'll show you a few ideas. True, says Luciana. Thank you very much. English for some words based on YouTube. Brazilian, and that's totally right. Good. Not sure what's totally right. But anyway, right. More American, but we don't hear on TV. Everything is dubbed, only on, yeah. Okay. TED Talks, of course. Coming to that. Right, next. Yes, but sound quality sometimes is terrible. So you don't get perfect sound quality. You get lots and lots of people who make very interesting looking videos of them walking around the middle of, walking along Copacabana Beach, talking about how amazing it is. And of course, the sound quality is awful. So it's a great video, but it's what you're using it for in the classroom is wasted because of the sound quality. Multimedia can affect something. I can't remember. I can't even see what I've written. Anyway, where are we? How do I go back? Right. Okay. Sorry about this. Let me just go back here. Yeah, multimedia can affect concentration. Okay, yeah. If you're doing a listening with a class and you've got a YouTube video on, the students will spend more time watching what's happening on the video rather than listening to the content. So as a lot of what I do in the classroom, I'll put the YouTube video on and then cover the screen, because what we're focusing on is not what you can see necessarily, it's what you can hear. Another problem may well be A0 and A1 authentic materials. Of course, most of what's on YouTube will be B2, C1, C2 level. So for younger, well, not younger learners, but for more elementary learners, it can be a problem. And of course, the other thing, classic, is videos can disappear. Yeah, so you spend ages creating this amazing lesson, all based on a YouTube video, and you've got worksheets, and you've got everything. You think this is absolutely going to be the best lesson, and you decide to use it when you're being observed by your head or something like that. And of course, you put it on, and the video's disappeared, and then you lose your job. Yeah, that's one of the problems that we face. Okay. I work at a public school here in Brazil, and most of the teachers don't want to use the technology in their favor. That's so frustrating. I hear you. I use their cell phones to get the lessons more dynamic, and it helps me to keep the students' attention during the whole lesson. I use videos during my classes as well, and I recommend my students some cool English channels on YouTube. That is Luciana Costa. Would you like a job over here in England? Because it sounds like you really know what you're doing. I said true, commentating on what you said about American English on TV. Thank you, Luciana. And to teach adults, what do you recommend? They have some problems with listening. They do. So let's have a look at some ideas. Ideas for you using YouTube. Right, now, what am I going to do now? I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go like this. and I'm going to go like this. Now, hopefully you can all still see my screen. And here are some practical ideas for using YouTube. Have you heard of YouTube Edu? YouTube Edu is very good. It's very good for CLIL. We all know what is CLIL, commonly a common acronym in Brazil. Basically, content learning, CLIL, content language integrated learning. Yeah, learning different skills through the medium of English. Okay, lots of ideas through YouTube.edu. Yeah, this is the using YouTube with younger learners, for example. This is a YouTube video, The Emperor's New Clothes. I'm not sure whether you can hear anything, but basically this is a children's fairy tale. Okay, so this is a video which is a children's fairy tales. Children are going to love this because of the video. It's very colorful. How can we use it? Well, it's possible to transcribe what you see and give that to the students. And as the students listen, they follow the transcription. But because you're sneaky, you've added a few mistakes within the transcription. So as they listen, they've got to listen very, very intensively. And they've got to correct the errors within what's transcribed. Okay, very, very easy to do. You can do it on a piece of paper. You don't need it doesn't have to be on computer or anything. And then you bring this video up in front of the class and you play it, and the students follow it and correct their the errors that you have deliberately put in. Okay. Good. So that's one particular example. Here we've got a video from the British Council, which is a functional video on how to order at the restaurant. Have a listen to this. Now, this is a nice example of a video where it's quite easy to see where the video is going. Ordering in a restaurant tends to follow a pretty particular set of stages. Now, what we can do here is we can play the video through. We can go back to the beginning of the video, and then we can do this. Everybody listen. Sorry. Okay, so listen. Good evening, are you ready to order? Right, everybody, I'd like you to, in your groups of 2 or 3, I'd like you to come up with 3 possible alternatives of what you can follow that with. Okay. Oh, hang on. Oh, everyone's writing to me. Yes, no, can't hear it, can't hear it. Everybody can see it, but nobody can hear it. Well, believe me, somebody says I'm not listening. Thank you. Basically, doesn't matter. It's a restaurant ordering scene. So the man comes along and says, "Good evening. Are you ready to order?" Pause the video. Get the students to write what they think the person might say. Don't worry about not listening. I'll explain everything. And then you take groups in 3 or 4 or 2, and you come up with examples of what they can say as a result of after "Good evening, are you ready to order?" In actual fact, the person says, "First, can you tell me what's on the menu?" Okay, now you get the students again to continue that conversation, and you continue it there. So basically what you're using the video as a series of prompts to get the students to come up with real language in a situation where they should feel fairly confident, because basically, whether you're in Brazil speaking Portuguese, whether you're in Britain speaking English, whether you're in Japan speaking Japanese, ordering in a restaurant, or getting on a bus, or buying a train ticket, these functional situations often follow a set sequence, and so therefore it's very, very useful, because we need to know functional language, especially if we're going to visit a country, and B, everybody feels confident about the kind of thing that's going to come next. So that's another idea about using a functional situation to predict language that comes out. Okay, next. Yes. Yeah, trailers. What have I written about this? Yeah. So you split the class in half. Half this class can see the video but cannot hear it. Half the class can hear the video but cannot see it. It's a movie trailer. Again, you won't be able to hear this, but it's a movie trailer, and it's basically it's a very funny film, actually. Half the students see the video but cannot hear what's happening, so they've got to try and work in groups to see what's going on here. What is this film about? The other half of the class don't see anything but listen to it, and then they've got to work out what the film is about. Then you put the two halves together by taking one person from one half, one person to the other half, create pairs, and they've got to basically recreate the video from what they hear and what they see. This is particularly good for movie trailers, because they're short, they're very visual, and there's always a commentary about something without giving all the information about the story away. And so consequently, they're very good for this type of activity. And then, of course, you can get the students to read out what they think the story is about, and whoever gets closest, and you see the video, you see the trailer in the end, whoever gets closest gets a £10 million as a treat. Yeah, that's very useful. The only thing to remember about something like that is it's got to have to be a movie trailer that they haven't seen. Yeah, so not something that's very, very Titanic or something that everyone will have seen. It won't go down very well. I wouldn't recommend using The Exorcist either, especially with young learners. It doesn't go down very well. Okay, right. So what do I go now? Yes, somebody up here, some very clever person. Where are we? Said to me, well, actually, this is Joel Ajudarte. Said Kahoot is a great platform for teaching, which is very interesting because, oh, look at this. This is Kahoot. Can you quickly go no if you have never heard of Kahoot? You've got 10 seconds. Okay. So, okay. I've heard of it. Great. Yeah. Okay, so 3 of you haven't heard of it. So 97 of you have, or some of you have fallen asleep already, but no problem. Kahoot is a really, really good way of involving the class in a very, very motivated way. Basically, what you do is you create a quiz. It's been designed for things like questionnaires, but it can be used as a quiz or anything really. And you create the quiz, and that's shown on the projector through the computer. The students take out their phones, and they can connect their phones, they're very clever, to the computer itself. And then in groups, it can be on their own, it's better in groups. They then come up with the answers to questions. I don't have an example here on the computer, but it can be, for example, questions about oh, I don't know, questions about London. So there can be 10 questions about London, i.e. Is Arsenal the name of a London football team? And the students in groups have to come up with and answer the questions by literally clicking A, B, C, or D, or A or B, on their phones, and to find out which group is the winner. It's really, really interactive. It's really clever. It uses technology in a very, very good way. It's something that you could never do really, or it would be very difficult, chaotic to do it without using technology. But the best thing about Kahoot is the fact that it is authorable, and the best thing about all materials and technologies that you can use is that it's authorable. It's really, really useful, definitely worth investigating. It's really easy to use. Yeah. It's called Kahoot, K-A-H-O-O-T. All of these links, by the way, will also be available for you to be able to look at as well. HTTPS KAHOOT.IT. And there you go, that's Kahoot. Okay, next one, BBC. Right, okay, good old BBC. Now, BBC is really, really useful for radio. If you want hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of radio materials, then if you go to the BBC, you've got all of these different stations. The ones that you really need to take note of are Radio 4 and Radio 5. So Radio 4, Radio 4 Extra, Radio 5, Radio 5 Extra. These are talk radio. And with Radio 4, you've got hundreds of different materials that you can listen to. Again, most of it is going to be higher level, which is unfortunate. But if you do have B1 and above students, then this is a huge resource for you. You've got comedy, you've got news, you've got current affairs, you've got philosophy, you've got religion, you've got world events, you've got anything you can name, science, technology, everything. And you just listen to it. It's really, really useful. Okay. BBC Bite Size. Somebody's just said, Dragon's Den, oh, forget that. Somebody's just said, BBC Learning is great. Well, here we go. It's called BBC Bite Size, and it's full of really good materials for primary, for secondary, and for post-16. Somebody's mentioned the English We Speak podcast on BBC. Yes, absolutely, I agree. And so you can come here and you can go to Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2. This is from very, very early ages. Somebody was talking about the age of 3. You've got stuff which is really young levels, etc. This is from 5 onwards, but again, you can use it. Yeah. Okay, lots of games, lots of fun things to do. Everything's written in English. It's CLIL, really, isn't it? Because it's looking at geography through English. It's looking at science through English. It's a very, very useful tool. TED Talks. Do I need to talk about TED Talks? Everybody knows about TED Talks. Everybody likes TED Talks. But I'm a little bit skeptical about TED Talks. Personally, I don't think there's much material there for early levels, for beginners and intermediates. Well, beginners and elementary students. But okay, it's absolutely you can't deny that there's a huge number of very, very interesting talks that come through TED Talks. Does anyone know what MOOCs are? We're moving into B2, C1, C2 territory here. MOOCs, massive online something courses. I can't remember. Massive open online courses. That's what it is. Basically, you can study anything, anywhere through a MOOC for free. So it's very clever. Anyway, moving on from that, because we're already 35 minutes through. I haven't even talked about my learning platform yet. Lyrics gaps is really good. You show a song, it creates a gap fill for students to use. Here's one: The Beatles' Can't Buy Me Love. You play it, and you probably won't be able to hear this, but it's the Beatles singing Can't Buy Me Love, okay? You follow it, and you've got to choose. It makes you feel all right. Yeah. There you go. You follow it up, and you listen, and you complete the gap fill. Very, very good. That's lyricsgaps.com. Can you give us examples of offline sites or programs to download on our computers? Most of what I'm talking about here is online, I have to say. I mean, there's no reason why you can't find something that's online and then go off the internet and then still use it once you've uploaded the page itself. In another, if SBS want me to do another webinar, I could perhaps look at offline materials or materials for people who have no internet connection. That would be for another time, unfortunately. I download the videos from YouTube, says somebody. Okay. Okay, moving on. Game Zone. Online games can be good. You've got to be careful with them. A lot of them work only through something called Flash. Now, Flash is great, but it doesn't work on Macs. So if you have Macintoshes or iPads or iPhones, they don't work. So be careful with that. Moving quickly on. Right. Here we're looking at materials specifically for English, but which are free. The British Council, I'm going to skip through this very quickly so we don't have too much time, but British Council, teens, young, learn English teens, learn English kids. This was perfect for 3 upwards, and learn English for adults. Large amounts of materials here. The one thing about all of these is they don't keep a record of the student's performance, and for that you do need something like a learning platform, which will cost money, unfortunately. Okay, moving forward. Podcast. We're going to come to podcasts very shortly. Very good, very good. Well done. Somebody asked me for podcast. Okay, so Moodles. A Moodle is a supposedly free online learning platform. It ain't free. It's a little bit of a lie. I'm not a big... lots of people use Moodles. Lots of schools in the UK have Moodles. And when I talk to them, they all say, it's great because it's free. And then you say, can you use them? They say, no, it's too complicated to use. Moodles are great if you've got somebody who is a real expert and who is available for you to help you create activities and use them. They're not very user-friendly, unfortunately. Which brings me to, finally, to learning platforms. Okay, a learning platform is designed to provide lots and lots of materials for your students. It's also designed to be able to allow you to keep track of all your students and their progress. The best ones also allow you to create your own materials. And so they're very, very flexible. They should do everything that all of the other sites I've just shown you can do, all collected in one site. There are many learning platforms available. I'm going to show you this one, which is Let's Learn English, which is my learning platform, which I know most about. It's not free. It does cost money, although I would like to think that it's a lot cheaper than learning platforms, that other paid learning platforms that you'll find. I can't talk to you about price. That's something that Priscilla can talk to you about. But it is kind of cup of coffee type price. You know, it's not hundreds and hundreds of dollars by any means. What does Let's Learn English do? Well, Let's Learn English has a huge, it replicates your school. So if you are a teacher, logged in as a teacher, you can see the classes that you have. You can see the students that you have. You can see projects that you've created for students. You can write notices and be in contact and with your students. Coffee in Sao Paulo and London is probably about the same, actually. But a good point, Luciana. A teacher can see the classes that they've got. They can click on their class and they can look at their students. They can click on one of their students and they get into their students' profile page. They can have a look at their students' grades, all of the grades that they've got in all of the hundreds of exercises that are in the database of materials. They can go and have a look at them. They can, they can click on a particular exercise. They can see how well the students have done. They can add comments, etc. Give feedback to the students, etc. So this is something that no free site does, because what's really expensive in learning platforms is what they call the back end. It's the database, and that's a programming thing, and it's the reason why you can't have free learning platforms which keep student data, because it's just too expensive. The heart of Let's Learn English, and here again, this is the heart of many learning platforms, is large numbers of materials. Let's Learn English, for example, has over 5,000 exercises, ranging from A0 all the way up to C2. It contains materials for general English, grammar, vocabulary, reading, listening, writing, speaking, pronunciation, songs. It contains exam preparation, so whether your students are doing the KET, the PET, the FIRST, the advanced, the proficiency, IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, or whether your students are young learners, are doing the starters or the movers or the flyers exam. If you've got business students who are studying business vocabulary, business listening, business reading, etc., or younger learners who are not doing exams, this is a large resource of materials. Units typically have introductions, so this is present perfect simple, past experience at B1. So you've got your contextualization of a grammar point. You've got the explanation of your grammar point, and then you've got lots of different exercises that go on and practice it. Matching pairs, for example, here you've got to click to match one half of a sentence and another half of a sentence, etc., 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 etc. You've got proofreading. Proofreading is a very useful exercise. You don't find this very often in learning platforms, where you've got to find the errors in a piece of text. I don't know where to go on holiday. Well, did you ever go to Australia? Of course, we all know that you now have to have present perfect. Have you ever gone to Australia? Okay. Present perfect for past experience, etc. So that's a very useful type of exercise. Multiple choice. Yeah, multiple choice. We've all seen multiple choice exercises, A, B, C, or D, etc. Oops, bitten, something we should use, and has visited, etc. And also gap fills as well. Type your answer or choose from the options. Let's Learn English has material for you can use Let's Learn English in class as well. So you can, for example, have introductions. This is a reading unit. You've got a lead-in, just like you'll have in your course book. Talking about a religious festival in India. You've got leading questions, and then you've got a listening comprehension. Then, of course, you've got your different exercises. matching pairs, multiple choice, proofreading, and then you've got follow-up, which gives you the tape script, so you can analyze the language in the tape script. And of course, then you've got a YouTube video talking about the festival as well. So you've got lots and lots of material. It's very complete. Most learning platforms won't contain writing or speaking exercises, but Let's Learn English does. For example, here at pre-intermediate level, you've got writing postcards. How do you write postcards? Which tenses do I use? Present continuous, past simple, etc. And then, of course, you write a postcard. You literally write a postcard. Wish you were here in Sao Paulo. If I can speak, etc. You send that in, and it gets marked by people in Let's Learn English, and we send it back to the students. The same goes for speaking activities as well. Students record themselves, and we mark it and send it back. Lucas Fernandez says, I might not have listened well, but do you use these platforms exclusively, or do you use them alongside coursebook? Wow, what an amazing question. I'm going to tell you about that in about 1 minute. So a fabulous question, Lucas. Thank you for making my life good. Right, so younger learners have lovely exercises like this, where you listen and you color based on what you hear. So lots of different exercises for different types of learners, etc. So there's huge amounts of materials there already. There's a grammar doctor, so you can any teachers or students can ask questions, and the grammar doctor will answer them and give information. So you might ask a question like, I heard the idiom set the cat amongst the pigeons. What does this mean? Then I, as the grammar doctor or somebody within the Let's Learn English headquarters, will get back to the student or the teacher and help them. The teacher might write in a question saying, how do I teach X, Y, Z? And we give help for them. Now, where's Lucas? Yeah, are you ready, Lucas? This is for you. Let's Learn English is the only platform which links to over 200 different course books. Now, this is just one page of the 4 pages of different course books that we have. Now, we do not have any content from any of these course books on the platform because that's illegal. However, what we have done is we've cross-referenced all our materials to everything which is in all of these course books. If we take a classic Headway course book, so where are we? Headway 4th edition, elementary, you click on here, and this is in column 1, you've got the unit. In column 2, you've got the course book focus, what the course book is talking about in each part of the unit. On the 3rd column, it's all of our materials which cover the same ideas, the same grammar point, the same vocabulary area, the same reading or writing topic. So if you've got a course book from any of these publishers, any of the major publishers, if you open up the particular page that you're on here, you can then you can give the students units from the exercises to do, or do them in class with the students very, very easily. Unit 5 of Headway 4th edition elementary will talk about how much or how many. This is our unit. Click, go straight to the how much or many. So it's actually basically each of these major publishers has a learning platform that goes with each of the books. But what we've done is we've got one learning platform that goes with every single book. So it's a lot better, I would have thought, in that way. Maria Inez de Oliveira, I presume, says, do the test prep courses have mock tests? What an excellent question. So if we click here and then we go down here and we go to pet, for example, and we open up pet. Actually, pet is intermediate. Yeah. So we've got coaching, we've got practice. So, for example, signs and notices here. This is exactly the same level and the same kind of exercise as what the students will get in the actual exam. So there's huge amounts of test material here, all written by Cambridge examiners, I might add, which covers exactly the same material at the same level as what the students will be studying. I mean, you're looking at the equivalent of 5 complete tests for each of these exams. So that's that. Is it possible to select the exercise and adapt them, creating our own classes? Well, that's a very good question. What we can do is we can create something completely new. By adapt, I mean selecting the order in which we'll be using them. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can adapt what's on the platform as well in terms of which areas to do them, and you can also create your own material. So, for example, if you click here, new unit or course, you can create all of this is completely free once you're a member of the platform. You go on here, you can create new exercises, reordering exercises or gap fill exercises, etc. You click on save, then click on gap fill, click on edit, then you can add your own YouTube video. Oh, that's not YouTube. Where's the YouTube video? Okay, YouTube video here, buying a train ticket. Here you go, buying a train ticket, insert and close. There's your YouTube video. Now you can create your passage. You won't be able to hear what she says, but she's going to go in and she'll say, hello, can I buy a ticket to London, for example? Okay, so you just write out the text there. You create a gap fill by double clicking here, click here, click here, created. Again, double click here, click here. You can add alternative answers. Press save, go down to the bottom, click, and you've created a unit. You created your own exercise for students to use. Okay, very, very straightforward. It works very well with things like YouTube videos for songs, etc. Okay, right. Let's have a look at some questions. Is it possible to select? Yes. BIODATA, yes. Minha internet está muito ruim, cai toda hora. Gostaria de saber se teremos acesso aos slides material da palestra. I think that means, can I see all the slides from this webinar after the end of the webinar? If that's what you mean, Maria, then yes, you can. Is it possible to upload videos to this platform? Yeah, I've just showed you how to do it. In actual fact, you can, what you have is a file manager. You have a cloud. So you can upload your own files, your own videos, audios, everything. And you can create hundreds of exercises from your own materials as well. You can download, you can create videos, you can ask your students to create videos, upload them onto the cloud, and use them in lessons for yourself. Can the students use Let's Learn on their mobile phones? You ask the best questions. Fabulous. Yes, you can. Be very careful about learning platforms. Let's Learn English is not the only learning platform you can choose. However, whichever learning platform you choose, it must be one that is available on phones and on tablets. Many of them are not. Let's Learn English is multi-platform. So it can be used on Macintoshes, it can be used on Apples and PCs and iPhones and iPads and Android phones and Android tablets as well. Great, thanks again, Angus. Oh, you're welcome, Janaki. Sorry, I guess I missed that, but what's the website to access my school platform? Is that this one you're talking about, Alana? If that's called Let's Learn English, which is actually behind me there, Let's Learn English. And Priscilla will tell you all about that as well. Do you know any tools to create crosswords? Well, Quizlet, yes, is good. I'm on the bit talking about myself here, so yeah, I have to log in as myself actually. Just here. I'm going to log out for a second. Sorry, won't be long. Students, every student who is in Let's Learn English gets a lesson of the day, completely free. Completely free, sent to their inbox, sent to the particular calendar that they have, which has all their materials on it, and it's free for them at any time. In addition, for example, there's 52 different crosswords at intermediate level, 52 different crosswords at advanced level, 52 different crosswords at elementary level. There's games being written at the moment that go onto the learning platform, which will help students as well. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. Is it possible to print? How? Difficult. It's possible to print, but we try to avoid printing so that we don't get people from certain countries, not Brazil, of course, but certain countries might decide, well, we'll just print the entire 5,000 pages of the website and put it in a big book and sell it. So we try to avoid that. It is, of course, possible to print, but it's not really designed for that. Paula smiles at me. I'll smile back. Thank you. The exercises, says Erica. Okay, good. Yep, there are exercises. Great. You mean that I could create my own lessons on that platform, says Ademir. Yes, you can. Let's Learn English is used by 182 schools all over the world. The majority of those schools have turned all of their paper-based materials to online-based materials. And so they're saving money on printing is one thing, but also they're making those boring worksheets much more motivating for the students by turning them into digital materials. Thank you. How could I subscribe to this website? Contact Priscilla is the answer to that one. Can I bring my students to the platform? Yes, you can, Ademir. What I would recommend, well, I mean, obviously your students will have to purchase subscriptions to be able to access the materials. Again, contact SBS for details about that. Thanks. Okay, thanks. Very nice webinar. Thanks a bunch. Thanks. Please ask people. Oh, yes, right. Thank you. How much? Not connected with me. Thank you. Congratulations. If we have questions on this platform, is there support for us? Absolutely, Janaki. You can go the Grammar Doctor facility is there for students and teachers. It's there to ask technical questions, etc. Not a problem. Thanks a million for sharing all those amazing content. Well, thank you very much for coming, because there's lots of other things you can do instead of listening to me, which are far more interesting, especially this time of year, like going to the beach, I expect. So thank you very much for taking your time to listen to me. Silly question. Can I create my own account? I've been trying, but no success. It's not a silly question. There are no such things as silly questions. However, accounts are created by us through SBS. Thanks a lot. Would you have any suggestions or platforms where my students could talk to other students from all over? Yeah, let's learn English. We have chat facilities, and in the coming year, we're going to be able to have facilities where you can chat to students and create classes and have lessons with students in Japan and Switzerland and Italy, providing you can get the time right. Thank you for your time. It was very useful. Thank you very much, Maria Inez. What are your students' level of satisfaction by using these platforms? Do they find their progress more effective when compared to the traditional course books? That's a really good question, Lucas. Students love it, but students are, with the best will in the world, inherently lazy sometimes. What needs to happen is the teachers use it. When the teachers use it with the students start using it. Students don't necessarily use the platform on their own, although I try to force them to use it by giving them lessons every day, etc. Is it possible to use offline? It's an online platform, unfortunately. Where will links be made available for us? Ask Priscilla. Thank you for broadening my horizons. How can I contact Priscilla in order to have information on prices? I'm sure that Priscilla will probably send some kind of email or something to everybody who's been a member of this. And thank you for broadening my horizons, Denise. It's also so interesting, but in public school in Brazil, we don't have internet available. Please make the platform offline. I'll think about it. Great. Yeah. Okay. Right. It's now 2 o'clock in the United Kingdom, so I need to go and have a cup of tea. I'm going to say thank you very much to all of you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope I haven't been too boring for you. My wife always falls asleep when I start talking about technology in the language classroom, but thank you all for being members, and stay in touch, and yeah, and this could be the beginning of a wonderful relationship. Thank you very much, and goodbye.